Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Blrd podcast. This is episode 153. Of course, we have a very electric panel for you guys tonight. Tonight we have Darkside.
Yo. Yo.
Yeah, you guys have to get that last one out. Green Tuner.
Hello.
Snake.
Hiss.
Nice. Doing what Snake does.
Onomatopoeias.
Yeah. And myself, best in the world, main character, Bebe, Creamcast. Unfortunately, we don't have Bandito Mac with us. He is busy doing some real world stuff. We don't know what that is. You know, we stay in the virtual world. So, but Bandito, the family man that he is, has things to do. And then
Selfish.
Very selfish.
Yeah.
Like, he's with his family 24 hours. We just ask of him, to be with us for 2 hours, but he can't make time for us. So, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Apparently his family's more important than us, whatever. And then of course the ever elusive, never around, always busy at Underground. Unfortunately, will not be.
I'm sorry. The Who Underground?
Exactly.
I don't even know who that is.
The name.
The Underground. Nobody here's heard of him.
Yeah.
He's deep. He's deep. But he might be. We've joked about it. He might be in witness protection. I don't know what is going on with him.
Oh,
he might have seen something he's not supposed to see, and he has vanished.
He has, and our hearts goes out to him. Our prayers are with him and his family.
No, they don't.
No, you don't mean that. You truly are, concerned for his safety. So wherever street corner he's at, wherever dumpster behind whatever Wendy's he's at, we just hope that he continues to be safe.
Truck stop, the usual spots.
Yeah, they usually have a name for those type of people. They call them lot lizards.
Lot lizard. Yeah.
So
I have it as a fact. He's got a special robe and hat. He's a lot wizard, and you get the exact same services.
Nice.
And he comes right up to the cabin too. Like, I mean, he's like, he delivers.
You think he'd charge a premium for these things? It's actually cheaper.
Yeah, right. I mean, he is kind of like
you're keeping him warm, right? So it's like it's a little bit of a symbiotic relationship. You know what I mean?
It's almost charity.
Are you comparing him to like a tick, or he just comes in and just sucks all the resources out of you? Ed Underground, we miss you, buddy. There's other ways for you to make a living.
Tick that doesn't suck blood.
He sucks something else.
He sucks, but
It's the blood. He'll drain you. Let me tell you, a lot of satisfied people. A lot of refractory periods.
Ed, you know what?
Ed
keeps America's truckers going. Ed and Dunkin' Donuts.
I was gonna say,
Dunkin' Donuts and over-the-counter speed pills. That's what keeps truckers going.
Yeah.
So
this podcast keeps running on Dunkin' on Ed.
Yeah, really, it does. It's kind of, I mean, Ed is an entrepreneur. He keeps several. He's in the pharmaceuticals. I mean, he's in the food business with Dunkin'. I mean, he's in the food delivery business. I mean, this guy when we need to stop him, honestly. Like, he is becoming a serial entrepreneur. So, you know what, Ed? I hated on your business before, but I see your business model overall. It's like, like you have like those parent companies that have like all these different like chains and different stores and different things. That's Ed. He is the parent company, and he's just reaching out. I mean, he's diversifying. So, Ed Underground, hats off to you, sir. I'm starting to become a believer. Absolutely. So wherever he's at, we wish him the best. But without further ado, tonight, guys, we have a pretty good episode for you guys. We recently reviewed Max's DC universe, anime universe of Creature Commandos. 7 episodes. This is, I think, the first entry into James Gunn's universe, excluding Peacemaker and so forth. I know he's kind of retconning that first season into second season and so forth. So that really doesn't count. But this is the first official title to be released under James Gunn's new DC universe. So yeah, I mean, obviously we have talked about James Gunn's work in the past with Marvel, specifically Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, and 3, which we all, I think, unanimously liked. I think for most of our scores was above a 6 for his entire series. So not too bad. He has done a very good job taking obscure characters and obscure storylines and really fleshing it out into a true universe that we can appreciate enough so that it's getting added to the main MCU and it felt natural. And for a lot of people, that's one of their favorite series in the Marvel universe. Now he's doing the same thing with DC. A lot of people had some doubts about that, but especially coming after the illustrious Zack Snyder and his universe and what he has started. So I mean, for his first one, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. Creature Commandos, very unexpected. James Gunn has definitely took one of the more obscure, once again, characters in the DC universe. A lot of people don't really deal with the kind of the monster verse of the DC EU, really. A lot of people, of course, they know the Batman, the Supermans, and so forth, and the Wonder Womans, the Holy Trinity of DC. But yeah, when you start getting to the more obscure characters, yeah, a lot of even comic book fans don't know who they are. A lot of comic book fans, they hear references of them, but they don't really know these characters. I mean, and as far as I could, even for myself, I know a little bit of them, but I don't remember much about them growing up as a kid. So the fact that, James Gunn has kind of taken these characters who are less known, and for me, make an entire season out of it is impressive in and of itself. That is pretty huge undertaking, especially when you have like the Batmans and the Supermans and the Iron Mans of the world. It's pretty bold to pick new IPs. We've seen what new IPs have done in the comic book world, especially things like the Eternals. That's another obscure comic book reference that people just didn't really gravitate to the sense that Marvel and other studios probably thought they could do it with. We've seen it with like Morbius, obviously, stuff like that. People just don't gravitate usually to these more unknown characters as they do like the huge trinities of these two comic book powerhouses. But enough about that. What did you guys think of Creature Commando? Who wants to kick it off?
I know Snake was saying that he could go on forever.
He said he could last all night. So, I mean, Snake, do you want to kick it off, or you guys want me to kick it off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right,
go ahead.
I'll kick it off. I'll kick it off, and then Snake, I know you got a lot.
I feel like Snake would probably need to round it up, right? I mean, I'm thinking.
I don't. Yeah, I feel like that would be best.
Yeah. Okay. Let me kick it off. Go ahead. So, all right. So I did my typical thing. Watching the entire series within like a day or two. Usually I do it the day of the podcast. Like I'll watch it throughout work. Hopefully nobody from work hears this. I usually watch it through work, or I'll watch like one half, the day before the podcast, and the rest, right before the podcast. And I kind of did the same thing with Creature Commando.
How do you handle it when you don't like a show?
Well, when I don't like a show, what I do is I put it in the background and I do a lot of other things on the side. So I know the rough gist of what's going on, but I do try to give it a fair shake. I do try to actually watch it. And
he ignores it, but he gives it a fair shake. Okay, go on.
Yeah, I kind of ignore it, because there's a difference between like I am not one of those people like, oh, it's bad, I don't watch it. Like if it's absolutely horrific, like it's bad, I'm like, okay, I could kind of turn my brain off. If it's like, oh, okay, I will just muddy through it and just get through it as fast as possible. And I'm not gonna lie, there's been some shows I have double the speed on, or like 1.5 the speed, just to get through like dialogue, because I'm like, man, this is trash. But for the most part, I don't do that. When I started watching this though, I didn't have that pain whatsoever. I started Creature Commandos, I think yesterday or the day before. And I watched it just because I was eating some food, and I was like, hey, I'm home. My wife was gone. I was like, hey, I'm here. I'm kind of bored. Let me just watch something. And I was like, oh, I gotta watch Creature Commandos. So I started watching it, and I watched the first episode. And, usually the first episode for a lot of shows is kind of slow. They need to build the world and so forth. I love the show from the jump. I was really surprised how much I actually like Creature Commandos. Yeah, I thought this was a very well done, very well executed show. Especially for a cartoon. You get to see the familiar faces like the Amanda Wallers, which I love Amanda Waller's character. I love the fact that she's just such a non-feeling, non-caring, all about business personality, which we've seen her obviously in shows like Peacemaker. Well, we haven't seen her, but we know her personality, obviously Suicide Squad. Right. So I love that they're getting a lot of Amanda Waller's character is still the same character, same actor from all the rest of the Suicide Squad movies. But yeah, no, it was really great. It was really very well done. I love the fact that they started off kind of explaining this is taken after the Suicide Squad. So this is not like this is a random ass TV show. This is not like a Justice League isekai or not Suicide Squad isekai and so forth. This is really like after Suicide Squad, which I really, really thought was cool. So they explained things that happened within Peacemaker, or not Peacemaker, and Suicide Squad, the James Gunn version. They explain like when people die, how they're being continued on, how their character, Rick Flag Jr. is the one that got killed, but Rick Flag Sr. is the one that's taking his place. They explain, kind of the grief process that he's going through, and why, we have another Rick Flag as opposed to, just like, oh, he just came back and this is a totally different universe where he just now is magically alive, or this is in the past. I really love that. But yeah, I felt like James Gunn did very well with this. I loved the first episode. I mean, every episode, I'm not gonna lie, by the time I got to the third episode, I usually watch half now, half later type of, attitude. I watched all the episodes in one night. And I was like, damn, this is really good. Like I loved how he kind of serialized each person's story and their background story within each episode. Now, there's some stories that he kind of expanded on a little bit more with the Bride, that kind of expanded past that, from the past to the future or into the present. But I loved like how each person's story played out perfectly, and almost to a point where like at one point I got kind of annoyed because everybody ended up having like a really tragic backstory. But then I'm like, why is everybody having a tragic backstory? Which everybody does for the most part. However, like it shapes it. Not everybody came out with the same results. Some people had a tragic backstory and they became still stay kind. Other people had a tragic backstory and became absolute murderers. Some people had a tragic backstory and was misunderstood. And so forth. And I like that dynamic. It wasn't like a one-dimensional thing where I felt like the same story was being told every single time. The backstory is being told the same every single time. I felt like this was dynamic. The stories were dynamic. The characters were dynamic. The actual plot was great. With the big reveal at the end. Now, could that have been done a little bit better? Sure. But I thought overall it was good. It still surprised me what was going on, because I thought I had one way of thinking about it, and then it wasn't until the last maybe 10 minutes that everything kind of got turned on its head, which was still a good surprise for me. So yeah, I think for the beginning of James, if this is going to be, and another thing I was really worried about with James Gunn is that his DC universe was going to be kind of sanitized. We've talked about in the podcast before with people like Darkseid and Green Tuner thinking that I'm too dark, dark Eric and so forth. And I do like the dark, violent, nitty gritty stuff. And I'm really, with Superman coming out, in a couple of months, I'm like, we've had this conversation before where you're like, the boy in blue, he's supposed to be the pillar of righteousness and virtue. Mm-hmm. He should never be the one to kill and so forth. And I was kind of worried because he's starting with that. And I was kind of hoping that James Gunn didn't go down this path of grittiness. So we've seen like in Guardians of the Galaxy, it didn't get really violent, as it didn't get really gritty in that. So I was thinking like, oh, we're gonna get more of the same. But Creatures Commandos was not a disappointment. It was not a disappointment in the grittiness and the darkness of it. Now, granted, we've seen Peacemaker, and Peacemaker is very, very dark, complete polar opposite of Guardians of the Galaxy. But yeah, no, I was really surprised with the tone that James Gunn took, and especially for his first entry into the DC universe, I really loved it. Really, really loved it. So
I mean, it's the same tone, right? Like as Suicide Squad, as the last Suicide Squad movie. It was like I also watched it in almost one sitting, pretty much, and I was very surprised at how quickly it flew by. 7 episodes didn't feel like 7 episodes to me. And so it was like the perfect digestible size. And I'm really happy with the length of the entire first season. I thought they got a lot of the basic story across. But what I would say is it's exactly what I was expecting it to be, even more so than what I was expecting it to be. It's like Suicide Squad again. It's another version of Suicide Squad, and I like how Amanda Waller can't use living inmates anymore, so her workaround is to get the undead or whatever the version of them is here. So that's what the Creature Commandos are. They're basically Suicide Squad. They literally have the devices in their necks. They're led by Rick Flag. I mean, it's Suicide Squad. So I think it's an interesting slight twist on the Suicide Squad. As far as the characters go, I liked all the characters. And I believe all the characters are voiced by pretty big actors. Well, like big enough character actors that if they were to, and I believe the idea is to cameo all these people in live action, all of their individual actors pretty much look like their characters that they're playing. So they can easily be able to bring those characters into the new DC universe. As far as James Gunn goes and like the darkness you were talking about, the one thing I like about James Gunn and when he got selected for this is he understands the balance and of the DC universe a little bit more than like Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder, everything is dark.
Yeah.
James Gunn, there's parts of this universe that are dark. There's parts of it that are not, and they make the darker parts even more darker because you have this opposite side of it. So I have faith that this man can bring that kind of balance to the screen, and we can see some of this stuff in action. I mean, this series, as far as like a step into the DC universe, or whatever it will be, I feel fine about it. I think it's what I was expecting. The show overall, I thought it was fine. Nothing really blew me away. Like I said, it's more of the Suicide Squad, but I did enjoy the characters. I did enjoy the format. I thought it was refreshing how quick it passed. But outside of that, I can't say. And some of the humor was funny. I thought Dr. Phosphorus, everything he said was funny to me. And he stuck in a lot of like one-liners and sidebar things and stuff that only the audience would hear. So I enjoyed that. Yeah, outside of that, like I said, I just generally enjoyed it. But I the biggest thing I felt at the end of this was to watch the Suicide Squad movie, the James Gunn movie, which I literally started queuing up right after the 7th episode, but it was too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Tuner,
what you think, man?
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna pretty much repeat what you guys said. I really enjoyed it. James Gunn is also really good at like fleshing out characters in a short amount of time. flesh out all these characters in like what, not even 4 episodes, right? Where they're showing you like the life of the like little creature thingy, killing them. You know, the fish girl that was a human and then got turned or whatever. So yeah, it was really good. I don't know. It just he's so good at doing it. I really liked it, but it's not like I'm thrown off. It's just he's really good at this, and he's showing how good he is.
I think it's just like we like Peacemaker, we like Suicide Squad, we like Guardians of the Galaxy. This is just in line with what he does.
In line with everything else, yeah.
It's appropriately dark and it's good. Yeah, it's not bad. It's just, but I think I'm getting dangerously over what's the word?
I know what you're trying to say.
Fanboyish?
Yeah. No.
It's too much.
It's too much of the same thing, really.
Too much, even though it's good, it's like a lot of good. And
the formula is the same.
I don't know. Yeah, but it works.
The formula is the same, and the characters are different. And he's good at picking interesting characters and wild, off the wall characters. But like the missions that they're going on, and I'm going across all the things. They're almost interchangeable. Like nothing's totally unique. And you know what? That's kind of the thing with the thing about Suicide Squad that is interchangeable is these personalities, and that they are expendable. And I do like that he's not afraid to kill characters like left and right. And that is refreshing. But I'm afraid I'll get sick of this formula. Like I can only really take another group of criminals with things in their heads,
duels or whatever.
Then I think we need another take from another type of vision. Like I mean, I really want to see James Gunn's
another Penguin or the Batman or something just to cleanse the palate in between.
Agents.
Well, I feel like this is the problem. It's like I do agree that
I like it too. Just to say, I do really like this show. It's not like I'm complaining about it. It's a good show.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You're more complaining about how it's formulaic, right? Like James Gunn has a certain way of introducing and he has a way of introducing characters and fleshing out stories.
It's formulaic for James Gunn.
For James Gunn.
For James Gunn, exactly, yes.
Like when you compare, like when you look at great directors and great writers, and I would say James Gunn is starting to get into the realm of great director, great writer. And when you look at like a Christopher Nolan, right? When you go watch the several different Christopher Nolan movies, you don't necessarily get the same feeling each one, right? Like when you take it like the Batmans, that's one group of movies, and you're like, okay, he does his thing within those movies, and he kind of changes. Even within those movies, he kind of changes. But then you go to that and you go to like an Inception. Inception is different. You're like, okay, you don't get necessarily the Batman vibes from it. You get little hints of it, but it's not exactly the same. Then you get like a Tenet, and then you get what's the other one? Oppenheimer. Interstellar. Each one feels unique in this world. James Gunn is kind of just doing the same thing. I think the difference is with James Gunn, he's within the same genre. Like if James Gunn was doing things like, I mean, for the past few years, he's been really stuck on the comic book superhero genre, which is kind of formulaic to an extent, even in comic books, right? You kind of always get the same thing. So James Gunn is kind of following that, but it's hard, in my opinion, it's hard for him to break out of that formula if it works, right? I mean, it's kind of bad.
It's much worse than that. It's not even same genre, same subgenre, same story type. I mean, it's always a group of wacky fucking misfits who have to team up to go do a wacky thing. It is the same recipe,
sure,
in every one of these things, and that's kind of always been the problem.
But do you feel like that's? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I do think it's a problem at this point. fuck it, I'll just dive into where I'm going with it. I think it's a problem because the formula gives you a wide color of characters. It makes you like the characters, and it does you have fun and you laugh, and he gives them enough story to make them interesting. And like Darkseid says, yeah, he's not afraid to kill them. What this is emotional abuse.
Oh, here we go.
That's not a fucking joke. It's every one of these things.
Sure.
It's Gamora with Guardians. It was Fish Lady with Creature Commandos. Like everybody got an episode that was giving them character. Minus episode 1, I guess. Whatever. Sure. Frankenstein's monster gets 3 episodes worth of character development just to get shot in the chest and left behind at the end of the fucking series. But they give Nina 1 episode, and her sole purpose as a character through a 7-episode arc is to die as emotional development for another character. That's fucking bad. Wiping Gamora's memory just to make Guardians guy any more interesting as a character is fucking bad.
Yeah.
That is emotional abuse. That's just beating your audience. And he's done it several times, and I don't think it's very good. I meant to start my review off by saying something positive. Cheers to the fucking Tin Man.
Yeah.
He is one-dimensional. He was wiped out halfway through and we didn't see him again. What the fuck ever. Cheers to the fucking Tin Man, because for some reason I enjoyed the shit out of that. Yeah. And like I said, there were characters that I had problems with most of the characters. All the characters I still got to like them. Dr. Phosphorus is awesome. They ruin it with his backstory. Okay, whatever, no big deal. They even got me like fucking Weasel, another one-dimensional character. His Weasel, goddamn character development didn't even have anything to do with him.
Yeah,
but and that's the problem. But like the real sin of this show was, I think, filler. I think a lot of it was filler. I think a lot of it was not knowing what to do with some of the time. We'd have a really interesting action sequence. What we had? We had a really cool action sequence. In episode 2, it was it was a Bride and Cersei, and it was really cool. And there was a cutaway to Frankenstein's monster being cucked, literally on screen. It was the best scene we had in 2 episodes, and the cutaways to Frankenstein monster face as he's being cucked on screen. It's a troll, and it's fucking bad, and I'm mad about it. We had four cutaways to Gogol Bordello songs at least. They animated them on screen for reasons nobody fucking knows. A lot of filler. And your very first chance at filler, the very first time they fucking do it, is in the first 10 seconds of the goddamn series, when you get to James Gunn's letter card on the fucking intro. This motherfucker animated himself into the intro. I've never seen anybody jerk off to himself that hard.
I mean,
it's fucking bad. I do not like him. No. Every 5 out of 7 episodes, I have a bolded note here that says "fuck James Gunn." Jeez. I do not like him. I'm done with him. I don't like either of the Suicide Squad movies. I didn't like Guardians. I didn't see Peacemaker. Fuck James Gunn.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. I mean,
thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Great TED Talk. I mean, okay. So, I mean, there has definitely been directors, writers out there who have jerked themselves off on camera. One person I can think of off the top of my head, without even doing any deep thinking, is Quentin Tarantino, right? Quentin Tarantino is one of those directors who, I mean, obviously everybody knows in Hollywood, it's been already came out that he has a foot fetish. So when he has, in a lot of his movies, people exposing their feet, is almost like it's softcore porn to this man. Like, I can see.
Remember the vampire movie where he was sucking on Salma Hayek's toes or whatever?
Yes, that's the very
he wrote
first
that.
One. Yeah, he wrote that shit.
He wrote himself sucking her toes.
Yeah, he wrote that in the script, and Salma Hayek liked it. And she was like, "Hell yeah, this is kind of hot." And I remember they were talking about that, and like he presented it to her, and she was like, "Fuck yeah, let's do it." Like, I only will do it. I think she even said like she will only do the script. Well, he wrote that for her. I know he said that he wrote that scene specifically for her in mind. Before he had casted anybody, he was like, he wrote it imagining Salma Hayek would do it. And then Salma Hayek did it, and she said she would only do it if she could do that to Tarantino. And that man got an instant erection from that. So I mean, we've had other directors who have, I mean, he also did that to Uma Thurman, showing her feet.
How is Quentin Tarantino? How has he not been canceled somehow, some way?
Well, like I literally watched an interview with him today.
Enjoy his movies, I guess.
Yeah, he was arguing.
I guess
he was arguing with. I remember seeing this a long time ago, but for some reason it came back on my YouTube timeline. He was arguing with a news reporter. With she was like, you know, kids are watching your shows and they're gonna start killing people and blah blah blah. And she's like, if I saw that blah blah, it would change my mind. He was like, well, maybe you as a kid will watch violence and stuff and would kill people. He's like, I don't think kids are that stupid. He's like, kids are not supposed to be watching this anyway. If they watch it, he's like, they know better. They know that they can't take a katana and split people in half because yeah, it's fucking wrong, but it's great entertainment. And so forth. Like Tarantino, he doesn't care, right? Like when he called Samuel L. Jackson the N-word in Pulp Fiction, you know, he wrote that shit himself. And
sure did.
Yeah.
Did you ever remember when Tarantino was promoting the movie, Django specifically, when he would go to like BET or whatever, he would like turn his black speak on? Do you guys remember that?
No.
Like somebody actually did side comparisons, like how he behaved in front of like the BT was what he thought was hip, and he would like throw his version of lingo in, and then they would show another clip of around the same era on E Network or whatever, and he would just use his regular voice to like talk to an interview. It was just so weird.
I was ready to come here and defend Tarantino, but that's shutting me up.
Yeah, you can't really defend it.
Yeah, look it up. It's right up there. Like I remember some of the actors were kind of uncomfortable
not going to
with him
my life.
trying to like do his vibe, but you know nobody wants to not work for Tarantino, so they just go along.
Well, that's the thing. It's like when you take power out of things after a while, it's just like people don't care. Like, and I think Tarantino, he comes from a place of, I think there's a difference of intention, right? I don't think Tarantino comes off like with Pulp Fiction, like calling Samuel L. Jackson the N-word. I don't think he comes from a place of like actual hate.
At no point does he call Samuel L. Jackson the N-word in Pulp Fiction. I graduated on that fucking movie, so I can say this. He does use the word. He's using the word in regard to Marvin in the car.
Yeah, Marvin. You know what I mean. That's what I meant.
But he doesn't point Sam Jackson in the face and call him.
Yeah, he doesn't call him. But I'm saying he's saying it. And most times outside of like historical context or like a movie where
you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that. But the thing, he does it. And I don't think no one cares because he's not doing it in a malicious way. And it brings comedic value to the movie. And that's what Tarantino's really good at shock. And he's good at shock in a way that's entertainment. And I think that's what a lot of people understand him a lot more. But that's what I'm saying. So going back to what your point was, like directors jerking themselves off, and on camera, that's kind of what it is. James Gunn's not the first, and he's not going to be the last. I would say, like, if you're going to do it in a way, you better do it where your show is good. If your show is shit, then absolutely not. Like, then that just brings heat upon yourself. This was not bad. Like I said, Creature Commandos, regardless of how you feel about it, it wasn't a bad cartoon. It wasn't bad for a first entry. Is it, like I said, is it formulaic? Absolutely. But we're coming off of stuff like Suicide Squad. For the DC EU, the only thing he's worked on is two projects, like two major projects that we talked about, which is prior to this, which was Peacemaker and Suicide Squad. And yes, but these characters are all tied in within the same universe. So in the same team. They're all in the same team, and they are intertwined. So if it's formulaic in that sense, that makes complete sense. Now, I will say, if it gets really bad, if we watch Superman and it feels like Suicide Squad, if that's what it feels like, then I'm like, we might have a problem in the longevity of the DCU. But for right now,
I think it's gonna be more disappointing than that. I'm gonna count off the roster. We've got Rick Flag, who basically didn't get any character development. He's sort of one-dimensional. Okay. Maybe two-dimensional, but he didn't get much. Mm-hmm. We had Tin Man, who was Tin Man. We had Weasel, who was Weasel. We had Nina, who died the moment she got character development. We had Doc Phosphorus, who actually had a story, but no development. Not really any development with his character. We had the Bride, who was very conflicted and kind of ended on the same note that she got. That's to be determined. I'll leave her on the table as possible. Mm-hmm. Right now we're at 4 for 4 crap. Who am I missing? I'm missing
Amanda Waller.
Waller didn't count. Waller's one-dimensional too, but you want her like that. Frankenstein. We have Frankenstein's monster, who actually had the most story out of the lot of them, and still walked away. It was still like watching a freaking Joker story. You know how it ends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is, I don't expect a Superman movie to do anything more than take the whole roster of the Daily Planet and turn them into hostages, abusive hostages, or I don't know. The plot to this show was weak. The twist was Clayface. The twist was Shapeshifter. Okay, it was okay, not great, but like kind of weak. I don't think the plot was great. I don't think the characters were great. I don't think the development was great. The best thing we got out of this was the action scenes, which were pretty good, but he kept interrupting them for shit like cucking Frankenstein's monster. I think that there was a lot of good that he started and there's a lot of good in the mold, but like the larger picture was, good ingredients for bad soup.
Well, I don't know how much of that. This is obviously a like ongoing series, right? We will get a second season. It definitely felt like they were leaving the door open for a second season. I think it got renewed. So I don't know if there's a bigger story they're trying to tell, especially with like Frankenstein's monster. I feel like him and the Bride have this thing that's going to continue on. So maybe there are things he left on the table they didn't want to put in for some kind of bigger plan. Like I said, all these actors are they can be translated to the live, to a live action setting. So
I don't think Alan Tudyk's on fire right now.
Dude, I don't think he's on now, but you give me some gasoline and maybe, I can make that happen. But I could totally see him intersplicing these characters into a live action down the road. You know what I mean? Or a popping one of these characters into one of his series. What I was gonna say was, I get where Snake is coming from. I mean, he's not wrong about a couple of those things, but even on I guess this is more a commentary on this sad state of comic book movies, is like, even on the worst day here, his writing and his product stands out in amongst all the other comic book movies. And I was just thinking that this exact same formula, Marvel's going to attempt this same formula with Thunderbolts in 2 months or whatever. And I would hope that they land the characters and make them likable and endearing in basically the same type of structure in that. And I'm just thinking of what a huge loss James Gunn is to Marvel and what he could do there with what they have and the problems that they have. And what they're basically trying to do is they're trying to copy what he's already set up. And I don't know if they're going to succeed or not. And you have him we really don't know. This is the only formula I've seen this guy execute, and he does it really well. And what I'm going to say about Superman is I think that I think he can pivot Superman. I just think he's a more competent director and creator. In that
I want that. I don't like where he's coming from. I get how it's popular and people like it. I get all the good parts of it, but like I would love to like see a story that is rounded and like dives into characters as opposed to using them as bait. I would love to see involvement and development and you know, not turning everything into a joke. And if it's not a joke, a tragic backstory, or worse, a tragic backstory that turns into a joke, because I feel like that's all those are the three things you get. I would love to see so much more. And I don't think he's incapable of it. I'm more worried about I don't know, the Quentin Tarantino thing. How much do you really need to put your own vibe into it?
Yeah, and here's the thing, I'm not seeing that, like, I mean, from the Superman stuff, I'm not seeing that side of him. I'm not seeing the James Gunn isms in that trailer, and maybe they're not in the trailer. So it really does, like, and I'm not saying it's going to be good. I'm just saying I have this, like, I have a high opinion of James Gunn in that I think he's more than what he has presented himself to be up till this point. And I think he's more versatile, and I think you looking at his filmography, this is probably going, it's not a major departure. We're still in the superhero genre, but it is a major change for him. And like I said, we won't know until we see it. And it's really fucked up, but an entire cinematic universe and multi-billion-dollar franchise is sitting on the shoulders of one man's ability to pivot into something else. And like I said, I mean, I think if Warner Brothers has faith in the man and they've done no wrong, then surely we can have faith in the man. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think Warner Brothers has faith in anything anymore. I think Warner Brothers is gambling and taking anything that they can get. I think that this is an investment scheme. Hey, throw money at James Gunn. Maybe, you know, everything he touches makes money, and maybe he can do it. And I think that if we were real smart, we'd have seen the pump and dump scheme coming months ago and bought all the HBO stock and Warner stock that we could, and got it. And right before Superman comes out, we sell.
So, yeah, I mean, and that's fair. But the thing is, okay, so to kind of push back
again, sorry, real quick. Darkseid
I gotta disagree.
He sees the light. He sees the light. He thinks George Costanza has the potential, and I think
Warner Brothers has made nothing but serious business moves. They seem to be on a straight path, not deviating. I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's Warner Brothers after all.
Yes.
Hell yes. Oh yeah.
I agree. I mean, they have not made any mistakes thus far. They have set the standard for comic book movies for the past decade. Right?
Oh, Lord. Is this a second reboot for DCEU? Or the third reboot for DCEU?
It's the second.
It's only second? Oh, Lord. Why does it feel like it's a third for some reason?
It's the second one. Technically, it's a second.
But it feels like a third. Yeah.
Well, it depends on what you count as reboots, right? If you're counting back as far as like the original Supermans,
no, we're talking about the cinematic reboot.
The universe.
This is the second cinematic reboot. Yeah. This is the second time they've tried this.
Yeah, so
and the first time they fucked it up because they put all their eggs in the Zack Snyder basket. This time they're fucking it up by potentially.
They're doing all the eggs in another.
All the eggs in another basket.
Well, the thing is, whereas. Let's be realistic, okay? I feel like we're kind of hammering on James Gunn. The thing is like
we're not.
I say that it's unfair to James Gunn that they're just fucking piling all this on him.
Well, no.
I opened up with "fuck James Gunn," so that's on me, and I know I'm the outlier
you don't
here.
Know Snake's the hater.
He is,
and I'd like to thank everybody here for listening to me piss and moan for the last like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean. I'll say this. I mean, James Gunn, I mean, we got to look at it like we say that he doesn't have breath, right? He doesn't have the breath to give out or to make several stories or it can write and can write dynamically based on the the cast that he has, right? Whether he's telling a story for a single person and developing that single person, or he has a cast of characters that he has to tell. We're saying like he's very formulaic when he builds his world. He does world building, and it's always like funny jokes and so forth. Like we can kind of agree that Suicide Squad is the DC version of Guardians of the Galaxy, right? We can say that those are two very similar movies as far as you getting, like, I think as Snake said before, you grab, or I think maybe it was Darkseid, you grab a band of misfits, you get them working towards a common goal. At the end, it's all kumbaya. They were all friends and blah, blah, blah. Suicide Squad is kind of the same thing with a little bit more gore and profanity and so forth. But it's the same steps. It's the same beat, all the same. But we also looked at something like The Penguin, right? Which James Gunn had creative right to help influence. He was there from the very beginning. And instead of like going in and being like, okay, I'm going to put The Penguin made by James Gunn, he allowed the writer and the director to kind of do his own thing. He came in and definitely was like, hey.
I don't know if James Gunn had that much.
Yes, he did.
Wasn't that all Matt Reeves?
No, it was James Gunn. No, Matt Reeves. No, the original story. Yes, it was Matt Reeves. But what I'm saying is James Gunn was there and could have like completely overridden that. He could have been like, okay, well, I don't like this. Blah, blah, blah. Let's change this. He would give suggestions just to make the story what he felt would make it better. But he left it to the creative team as a whole. So like, I think that James Gunn is not going to be one of those people like Zack Snyder, right? Where Zack Snyder was literally the creative behind all of this. I think James Gunn,
I don't think that's a good example, because they've said that Matt Reeves' Batman universe is not part of the DC universe, so he wouldn't interject. Like they're going to have their own Batman, they're going to have their own Penguin. This is a completely different universe. If you're saying in terms of him as a like collaborator and a showrunner, like what, how hands off or hands on he is, I don't know if that's the best example. But like I said, a lot of people like him, and I don't think there's like a negativity about, oh, he's a jerk and he's controlling, and I don't think that he has a reputation like that. And I, like I said, if he certainly has influence, like James Gunn has influence over that series, I think, like a good deal, but I don't think it's enough to the point where he's like,
he's the co-head over. He's the co-head of DC Studios. What do you mean?
Yeah,
he's like, well, he's the Kevin Feige of. You think Kevin Feige doesn't have the creative? He doesn't have the
Kevin. No, it's a totally different example. Kevin Feige
is literally the same.
No, it's not the same.
Okay.
Kevin Feige is not a singular vision director. The entire MCU is his vision. All the people he hires are jobbers that basically directed it. He doesn't have any directors. Like I mean, everyone here is a hired gun, right? All his original people are, I don't know if there's anyone original left. James Gunn might have been the last one. No, The Russos are, well, they're the most hired guns. But James Gunn is a like a singular like style and everything like that. I'm sure he has influence with Matt Reeves' like world. I'm sure he has influence on what like is going on there, but I think he respects Matt Reeves' universe enough to leave it alone.
That's what I'm saying. You're not saying anything different than what I'm saying.
Well, what I'm saying, if you're listening, is that he is not interjecting into that universe, so that's not a good example of that. What his influence will be in like running other types of properties in the DC universe.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that while James Gunn, while he can write, right, he can also see that there are different styles that are just going to be, that could be just as successful as his. So like with the Penguin, yes, it's right. I just had it up that he had involvement with the Penguin since the beginning of his production, but he left it to the creative team to do what they wanted to. He would give them suggestions on what they wanted to do, but he respected their creative takes on the Penguin or in the Matt Reeves universe. So at the end of the day, because James Gunn is capable of doing that, which I don't think Zack Snyder necessarily does have that same capability. We're looking at Rebel Moon. I don't think James Gunn, because I don't believe James Gunn is going to singularly write the entire DCU from beginning to end. I don't think he's going to direct every single thing within the DCU from beginning to end. I think that he has the capability to see that his style may not work for every single character that comes out in the DCU. So I'm saying that as other directors come in, as he brings the higher guns to come in and to write stories and so forth, that ultimately at the end of the day, while James Gunn does have the creative ability to overwrite certain things or to give suggestions and so forth, I think it's going to be very minimal. For the things that he can control, that's the things that he's going to control. For the movies that he's going to make, he's going to write and direct, that's just what he's going to do. But I think the DCU, you gotta remember, this is literally like watching Iron Man 1, right? Like Creature Commandos is watching like Iron Man 1, or Superman, if you really want to get into it. Superman is Iron Man 1. This is the beginning of his universe. I don't think that he's going to be the end all be all. I think that he's going to be able to find these other directors and other writers who can be able to bring value to the DCU, give it a unique take, and then from there build on DCU to the finale as we considered it. Well, I mean, it's the real finale of the Marvel. Like, I feel like the finale, up until we see what Brave New World is going to bring in this next phase, I feel like Marvel kind of, I won't say died, but Marvel got stale after Infinity War. It failed after Infinity War. So
I think his like Iron Man 1 situation was more like Suicide Squad.
Sure.
I know
it's a weird thing.
It's a weird situation. It's very weird. Yeah, it's very hard because they're not doing it.
Feel like it's comparable. Just business. At the time of Iron Man, nobody had any idea what that. Like there was a concept of a plan for what they wanted to do there. But nobody knew what Marvel was going to turn into, and then it blew up. And now that we've established, what Marvel could do, and it's become the single greatest motion picture phenomenon in the history of televised entertainment, which hurts me to say, but it's freaking true. And we've seen DC flub it twice now. Like, that is not a comparable situation. Like, inventing the car and then trying to start a car company is not the same thing.
I think what Creamcast, I think what you're trying to say, not so much in terms of like the creative potential of what Iron Man was. I think it's more of like a style of the universe. Like, I mean, Iron Man 1 is a good representation of the overall style of the entire MCU. Like, yes. Even though Jon Favreau directed it, that style is pretty much copy and paste. Like, it doesn't deviate to what's his name for Ant-Man, the original director. Why am I blanking on the name? Snake, help me out here.
Ant-Man, I don't remember.
Shaun of the Dead.
He did that Baby Driver movie, right?
Yeah.
Peyton,
was it?
Yep.
Yes.
Hang on.
Not Peyton Reed, dude.
I like how we know his movies, but not
Peyton Reed was the director for Ant-Man. However, Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright. Okay. So Edgar Wright was the first challenge for what's his name? Kevin Feige to break away from that style, right? And guess what? Edgar Wright didn't end up directing that movie because he wanted to do what Edgar Wright wanted to do. And we probably would have gotten a way better Ant-Man movie, but we got Peyton Reed, who is a jobber-ass jobber. And it's a fine movie. I dislike that movie, but it is exactly in style with Iron Man 1. Now, the question that I think Creamcast was, getting around to saying is that style reflective of what James Gunn will bring to the DCU? Because I don't see that as being translatable to the entire, because James Gunn is a distinct voice with a distinct style, whereas Kevin Feige's overall style is very generic. It can be interspliced with different genres. I don't know if it's too early to tell is what I'm saying with James Gunn. And but I have enough faith in the man that he can pivot on that.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if I've been to the restaurant 4 or 5 times, I'm not expecting their next big hit to wow me. If I've eaten the food there and they're trying and I don't like it, I'm not expecting the next one to be great.
Well, that's why this, I guess, I mean, yes. So to an extent, what you're saying, Darkside, is what I'm saying. I'm just saying that ultimately at the end of the day, Kevin Feige is not actually directing movies, right? He's not sitting there with the camera and saying, hey, this is how I want to shoot it. There's other directors that are doing it. Now, he might dictate the style and dictate the creative takes to an extent, but he's allowing these other creators saying, hey, this is the formula, this is the box you need to stay in, but as long as you stay within this box, you can do what you kind of want to do. And I'm thinking that my point is that James Gunn, in my opinion, is more of a actual director and an actual writer, in the sense that he's going to build the DCU as it needs to start to be built out. But I think that as other directors are coming in, other writers are coming in, I don't think James Gunn is going to necessarily say you have to be within the specific box. Like, there are going to be the comedic takes and so forth that needs to be kind of done. But let me, like what I said with the Penguin. Now, granted, that is before the DCU, and this is before James Gunn really took it over and so forth. This was already a world that was already being created with the Matt Reeves Batman. But I think James Gunn, I'm hoping that what's going to happen, and I think what's going to happen, and I think James Gunn has more wherewithal, better than Zack Snyder, because Zack Snyder was a true one-man show. I think that's the big thing too that we're kind of forgetting. Zack Snyder was a one-man show. Well, I think James Gunn is going to be more of the Kevin Feige, where like, hey, he could do the directing and writing, but he's going to be more forcing the shaping of this universe, and that could be a good or bad thing. Like, I agree with you. Like, Snake, like you said a perfect analogy. If you've been to the restaurant 4 times, you're not going to go the 5th time and expect them to have a Michelin star dish when you've been going to Cheddar's this entire time, right? You're not going to expect a totally different package than what you've already received. Now, I think that's very true with how most I think even with Marvel, yeah, and Darkseid, you're right. With Marvel, that's exactly what you got with Iron Man 1 is essentially the entire MCU. We've gotten the exact same thing, even with the Russo brothers, and they did. I'm not gonna lie, the Russo brothers did a phenomenal job, taking the early entry to the Marvel universe and shaping it into something that was fun, entertaining, and digestible. They did a phenomenal job. That's why they're coming back for Doomsday, right? But I'm hoping that James Gunn is a better, since he's an actual writer and an actual director who's managing this. And I'm not saying Kevin Feige isn't. Kevin Feige is a director as well and a producer. But at the same time, I think James Gunn is going to have a better understanding of what how comic book movies should evolve, or how films should evolve, and that ultimately that the universe is not going to be stagnant. I'm hoping like with like Superman, Superman's going to start off light. It's going to start off very campy, very bright, and so forth. Now I'm hoping that as it continues on, however this DC universe evolves, which I have no idea how it's going to evolve. None of us have an inkling, but I'm hoping that it does evolve into something different than what it started, right? I don't want necessarily the campy Superman throughout the entire time. I want Superman to face real challenges. I'm not saying nothing dark, but I want him to be challenged. I don't want him to be just like, I'm Superman. Oh, I get hit. Let me go to the Fortress of Solitude and let me run up to the sun and get strong. I want him to face real challenges. Now, I think James Gunn can pull it off. I think he could probably give us one of the most comprehensive Supermans that we've ever seen. I think James Gunn has the breadth to be able to go the distance and change the scenarios of and how to form this universe. But it takes.
I think about 15 minutes ago, you smoked a big old meth pipe, like off camera, and I don't know what the hell you're going on.
Sure, I might be coping.
You are on
there's
some shit
there's
right
no need to cope. Look, it's like you said, you go to this restaurant, you've had great fried chicken every single time, but this time he's got Nashville hot chicken on the menu. He does chicken good already. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
I went to Nashville a couple months ago and I had the hot chicken. It's different. It's a different fucking experience. That's all I'm saying. Here's what I want to know. Where's green tuna right now? I haven't heard this guy talk in like 20 minutes.
What are you talking about?
He did talk. Where have you been?
Yeah.
He talks.
This is a pretty heavy, the Green Tuner heavy episode. I'll have you know. Thank you very much.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. What he said.
Yeah, we can't even shut this guy up half the time.
But what does Ja Rule think? All right.
Anyways,
I'd just like to reiterate one more time. Fuck James Gunn and 3 cheers for the Tin Man.
I'm not gonna lie, G.I. Robot, even though I had seen clips of G.I. Robot, it was a lot better watching him during the episode because
memes don't live up to it.
Yeah, it does not give him justice. And I thought that it was gonna be boring. Him keeps, talking about killing Nazis and
killing Nazis.
Yeah.
I just love Nazis.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed all of his lines because he always referenced back to Nazis. And now, could the shtick get old after a while? Sure. Yeah. I don't know if it's season 3 if I'm gonna be still a ha about all of G.I. Joe's or G.I. I say G.I.
Robot.
Robot. Jeez. G.I.
He's
Robots.
got a very simple name, my friend.
Yeah. G.I. Robots.
I think that's why it's so hard. It's so
simple. Yeah. I was thinking like G.I. Robot, but I'm like,
it's so on the nose.
Yeah, do I sound stupid? Yeah. G.I. Robot. Yeah, I don't know about season 3. I'm still gonna be a he and a ha about it, but I did enjoy that because it's simple and it's stupid, but it's funny because it's so stupid. But yeah,
I kind of didn't
overstay it. Welcome. They didn't do too much with it.
Uh-huh.
They only put him in like 1.5 action scenes. They killed him off like midway through, like maybe 3/4 of the way through, and then he was just sort of gone till the end. So you didn't get overwhelmed with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm afraid of, because then he shows up in the end, and you're like, okay, because you're right. It was the perfect amount of the simplicity of that character.
And then he showed up as a tank.
Shows up as a tank, and you know that if there's a second season, it's going to be more of that G.I. Robot. But just say like G.I. Robot as in his first form, pretty fucking cool when his body split, his torso split in half, and he was flying around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What a really cool killing machine! Like that would be fun to see a live action G.I. Robot.
I will reiterate, as much as I've talked shit about this, the action scenes were good. We had a really cool fight scene in episode 1, Dr. Phosphorus and Flag, and they were like through the walls and the fire and falling through the floor, and Flag picks up the cast iron pot, and he's fighting the Phosphorus with it was like a very good use of the environment and the stuff at play. Frankenstein's monster was whatever, but like at the same time he did go on a rampage. G.I. Robot was entertaining even if he was just killing Nazis. We had a lot of good the action scenes when they were there were pretty good,
and they paid off. And I like how G.I. Robot kind of paid off. You've been hearing about him wanting to kill Nazis for 4 episodes, and then on the 4.5, like at the end, he finally got to kill Nazis, and the joy that you see this man, like he's ecstatic. I mean, he's elated to kill Nazis, and I'm not gonna lie, like. I felt happy for him. Like I've never. It's a weird feeling. Like I felt happy for this guy because he actually gets to kill people, and he thinks they're Nazis. And then same thing. Like all the fight scenes really paid off. I did like every kill that Dr. Phosphorus did. I loved it.
Brutal.
It was fucking brutal. And
remember the security guard where he fucking just took out the front half of his face.
Yeah. And I felt bad for that guy because that guy was like, hey, I
can see the list. Yeah,
he's
like watching it.
It's like, I could check the list to see if you're on it. And he just melted his face off. And I was like, that's the type of brutality. I did not, watching this show, I don't know if you guys expected this. I did not expect this level of brutality. Because, I mean, for most cartoons, even in the DCEU that we've seen in the past, it's never been really this brutal. Like, we've seen some crazy stuff like Flashpoint and so forth, where the Reverse Flash getting his head blown, getting shot straight through his head and so forth. But like, I didn't expect this level of brutality. And like the fight with Dr. Phosphorus and Rick Flag, that Snake, you said it perfectly. Like the actual use of set items in those scenes where he put on the mitten and to fight against Dr. Phosphorus's heat, like that's smart. And like Rick Flag is his ass fucked up, but like yeah, that was really cool. On the fly, like him doing this type of stuff, and yeah, no, it was really good. Like I have to give it a lot of credit. Like that's what I said. Like Creature Commandos, for the parts they did well, they did very well.
Yeah, it has a lot of moments, right, that stand out. Like as a whole, we could talk about it in one light, but it has a lot of little moments all across the board. And I was just thinking about it has to be my favorite because of the build up to it. You know where it's going, and when it gets there, it's just like there's little things. I'm talking about like GI Robot going to the neo-Nazi rally. You knew, and as he's walking and he sees the tattoos and he's talking to himself like, oh man, like him just his own like robot monologue to himself. And we're all doing the same thing. We know where he was going. It was just a good like just that robot who is so like one dimensional like. And then you hear him like it's the most like this is not good, and then like that.
That was good. I really liked the subtle escalation. He's a war machine from and then he's decrepit. He gets picked up by like a nerd. The nerd's a war. He's a war history guy, and he's into the war movies, and he's laughing at the Nazis. And then it's a slow build up, but like from step one, you're like, this motherfucker's a Nazi, isn't he?
Yes.
And sure enough, we get to the end and you're like, yeah, he's fucking toast. Yeah.
I remember watching that scene where it was showing him that guy playing with GI Robot. And at first I didn't think he was a Nazi. I thought he was gonna do more depraved shit, honestly. I was like, oh man, this guy's gonna he's gonna fuck. You
think it's weird, yeah?
Yeah, I thought he's gonna fuck this robot or something like that. And then once they're in the car ride, he's like, "Yeah, I'm taking you to a group or whatever or a rally." And I'm like, that's why I was like, "Oh shit, is he?" I'm like, this guy can't be a Nazi. And I didn't pick up any of it because I don't think anything before that showed any type of Nazi.
He's like a World War II enthusiast, and for a second he had that room that had a lot of like memorabilia. I thought G.I. Robot was just gonna kill him because he thought, "Oh, you're a Nazi," like. But they didn't do that, and they like laid down this like long friendship of like he cares about him, he puts the coat on him, he's oiling him up. That was very nice and very endearing. And then he gets in the car and he says that line about like we're going to meet people who are like-minded. Like I was like, and then I just love that was like. He was verbalizing all that as he's walking on the thing is he's the tattoo and he sees this. He's like
he sees the uniform.
yeah. It's all like falling in place. I just love that through his robot eyes. I'm gonna kill all these people.
Yeah. I just love like when he squints his eye every time like he's about to kill somebody, or like when he was at the talk show, and he's like, "That's what a Nazi would say." That's what a Nazi would say. And then like it just got everybody started laughing, and everybody just got quiet. Like I'm like that awkward hilarity about GI Robot was it was well done. And I have to commend James Gunn. I'm assuming that he was behind that. The fact that it wasn't oversaturated was very great. So like and like Darkseid, you said it perfectly. The sum of the whole, you could take points off, but individual, there are some things that are really well done.
There were nuggets of gold in here. As much as I'm trying to hate on it, there's a lot of good stuff. Cheers to the fucking Tin Man.
Yeah, absolutely. We have somebody's in the chat. I don't know who it is. They say something. He's spending the day at Elon's house. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, the Ed Underground is obviously spending the day at Elon's house. So hey, Ed Underground, be safe, buddy.
Yo, he's a what wizard?
A lot.
Snake?
Oh, a lot wizard.
Lot lizard.
Not a lot wizard.
Yeah, there you go. He is a lot wizard. Yeah.
It's crazy because I mean, there's not even a gas station right there. It's like you're going to a Tesla charging station. You're just going up to random.
Well, actually, Elon had to like recreate. He paid through his teeth, but he has so much money. He recreated down like true to life truck stop with like urine stains and everything just for Ed. and he specifically built a Wendy's and a dumpster in there as well to maximize the amount of fetishization that's going to happen.
Maximize the amount of profit. So he's like, we got to make sure we got all these different items. Absolutely. No, it says what we're talking about with GI Robot sounds like another day at Elon's. Yeah, obviously Elon got into a little bit of trouble with his giving his heart out to the crowd. So that's what
Roman
sending GI Robot over there, but whatever.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, that's the kind of salute a Nazi would do. And then bloodbath. But yeah, no, this is a great series. I mean, I guess you guys want to give it blurries. So do you guys want to talk about anything else with the series or the future state of the DC?
I think I'm good. I think we got all our points across. I'll kick it off. I will give it a 7.5. 7.5 for me.
7.5.
Damn.
Yeah. I
loved it.
Yeah, I was stuck in between 7.5 and an 8, and I come to realize that I would give this an 8. This is a very this is very solid. Very solid.
Yeah, it's solid. I'm gonna, after this conversation, obviously my scores adjusted. It went from an 8.5 to an 8, but I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
All right, Snake, here we go. This is it.
I firmly believe that
underground.
On a second watching, I firmly believe that opinions would be considerably different. This is getting the 6 out of me.
All right,
that's still good.
Like
I said, there's a lot of good. The animation was good. There were a lot of good moments, and I hate the abusive relationship there is with James Gunn and characters. I don't feel like there was an overall plot.
And I'm like, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's easy. It gets a reaction out of people.
Yeah, it gets reaction.
Welcome to the last 12 years where that's all you really need to do to get somebody's attention. Everything's skin fucking deep. I am feeling old lately. Yeah. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah,
maybe I'm old and I'm watching comic book cartoons and I'm the problem.
You are the problem. Yeah. Are we the demographic for this? I'm pretty sure we are. But
of course, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
I don't know what demographics are anymore because the things we grew up on are things that new creators are still drawing off of. Like, you used to just make things for a demographic. Now our demographic is spanned a generation, and we're still getting. It's entertainment is in such a weird spot right now. Whatever, 6 out of 10. I feel like a second watch would probably be disappointing. Whatever.
Now,
but
Snake,
I had a lot of. I'm really, really interested. I think that we will see the most tell out of the next series of this and the new Superman movie. I feel like those are going to make or break what we know about James Gunn.
Now, Snake, did this conversation impact like Greed Tuner went from what was it, an 8.5 to 8? Honestly, I went from an 8 to 7.5 in this conversation. Did it influence your score, or was that where you were at?
So I have a confession to make.
You didn't watch it. He didn't watch it.
I no. Oh, man. If we're not watching, that's a lot to say.
That's impressive.
That is impressive. He pulled an Ed Underground.
What a twist!
I watched the first episode.
That would be, man. That'd be something else.
Yeah.
I'm really bad about scoring things out of 10. I have a system for scoring things out of 5, which doesn't have anything to do with what we're saying right now. But like, I kind of just sort of wing it when it comes to scoring things out of 10. I'm like, it wasn't great, but it also wasn't terrible. I'm gonna give it a notch over a 5. I'll land on a 6, whatever. I don't think about it super fucking hard. I go over my notes and I listen to you guys and see if I feel any different about it. I was also pretty liquored up pretty much during every episode because I got mad at every episode. So no, I didn't have a lot of change in opinion, but my opinion is sort of malleable to begin with on this scale.
All right.
So I don't know if I just talked fucking gibberish or what anymore.
Well, okay, I have a scale. I have your scale.
I'm
1
way
through 3.
tired.
When your scale 1 through 5, would you give this a 3 normally?
So my 1 to 5 is 1 is I don't want it. I won't. This is a scale that was made when I was drinking a lot of whiskey. This is my whiskey skills. I won't drink it. I don't want to drink it. It's fine. I want to drink it. And it's like top tier. That's 1 to 5.
Gotta have it. Sure.
Yeah, gotta have it.
It's like the Cold Stone Creamery.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Ranking system
So by that scale, this is somewhere between a 2 and a 3. Like the gold in this is really pushing on the 3. We'd probably land on a 2.5 or a 3. That's a mood thing. So I'm on a scale of 10. This is winning.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
I'd say you're around the same where you'd be 6, 7-ish area.
Yeah.
So okay.
Well, like when we do ours, we say 5 is average, which average can mean different.
Which is what it should be.
Right. So like for me,
but math means nothing.
Yeah. But the thing at the end of the day is like I look at it like for shows like this, and this is a fair point. Like, could you watch this again? Could I watch it again from beginning to end? Possibly. I usually don't tend to watch things over and over again. But I'm the same person that watches Futurama. Like every couple months, I watch it from the beginning to go to sleep, and I'll watch like a season straight, no problem. And is Futurama the greatest? Absolutely not. Do I sit there and laugh at it? No, but I'm entertained enough. So it kind of has this weird thing, right? So no, I mean, I think your scale is fine. And I think based on what you said, like you're obviously very harsh. But at the same time, I think that the 6, I think that's perfectly fine. Now I'll be concerned if you gave it an 8, shitting on it this entire time. You'd be like, yeah, this is an 8. Like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, at that point you gotta kick me off.
Yeah,
I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck off. But yeah, 6 is. I think that's fair. I'm really curious to see
what become the liquor.
Yeah, he is the liquor at this point. I'm really curious to see what Bandito would say about this. I feel like this is.
I was disappointed that he wasn't here. I was looking forward to hearing what he had
I think
to say.
he said he gives it a 10 is what he said on the private chat. He said, tell everyone I give it a 10.
10 out of 10. Oh man.
Yep.
Well, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by that. I mean, Snake, what do you have to say about that?
I think y'all are trying to get a rile out of me.
No, never. We would never.
No, that's what he said.
Yeah.
He said that it's a 10. He said he doesn't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, he thinks that you're full of shit.
That's not wrong.
Damn it, he's not falling for it.
That was easy.
Fuck, he's on to us, guys. Really quick, in the chat we have Pink Destroyer. Thank you for coming through. He says Ed doesn't even do this podcast anymore. That is very true. Just Ed is on. Ed has said he's going to be on this podcast for the past 2 weeks and has not shown up at all. So, yeah,
Ed. The entertainment of this podcast is knowing that when he doesn't show up, we're gonna spend like 20% of the time ripping on that fact.
Yeah, exactly. So
we're just here for the Ed commentary.
Yeah, really at this point, Ed, don't show up. Just keep promising and just continue to be a disappointment. We're totally fine with that. 5 is really big, right, guys? Yeah, right? Yeah. 5, absolutely not. They want us to rate each other. No, I think we'll pass on that. And plus, I would give everybody a 1 because they all suck.
2, 3,
yeah,
2.
Exactly. I expect everybody to give everyone a 1.
Yeah. We're nothing but haters on this podcast. So nobody's gonna give anybody higher than the 1. And then Ed, he throw him under the scale. Whatever scale you said, throw him under that. That's where he belongs.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Ed say he rates himself as an 11. Okay. That's just he's just a double 1. That's what I'm gonna call it. But anyhow, all right. Well, that was our review of Creature Commandos. Overall, I think that was a pretty solid score from everybody. Take Snake's 6 as probably an 8. He is definitely the harshest critic of us all. But no, I think we all gave it a solid scoring. So if you get a chance to watch it on Max, definitely check it out, especially as the first entry into the DCU. minus like Peacemaker and everything else. I think you guys will have a great time. Well, any last words? You guys good?
Oh, good.
All right.
Oh, good.
All right. Well, that has been episode 153 of the Blrd Podcast. As always, you can watch us live on twitch.tv/the Blrd Podcast if you want to watch us give our live opinions and views on the topic. If you can't watch the live taping, you can always catch us at youtube.com/the Blrd Podcast. Or if you just want to hear our lovely voices, you can catch us on all major podcasting platforms. Until next time, you guys, we'll blur you later.
Blur you later.
Blur you later.
Blur you later.